All right, so today's the 15th, or actually it's the 16th already. Just got home from work. Definitely a very busy day. A lot of people, a lot of people being stupid, the usual. Um, but yeah, I'm here now and gonna get ready for bed, and just wanted to go over a few things that yeah, I've been feeling. I've had allergies, so that's why I look so messed up already. And if I'm struggling for air, it's probably because my nose is completely closed off. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, like I said, today was pretty busy. A lot of people being whiny, the usual. It's hard working in the customer service business, hospitality type of setting in that situation. But gonna have to really get through it and just kind of show your best face and make it work. But I think having BPD, it makes it really difficult to really like kind of hold your cool in a sense. I know that a lot of us have to work really hard to just kind of maintain our own positivity and just kind of remain balanced in a sense. I know that it took a lot of work for me to get to this point. A lot of times I still want to be very vocal in regards to how I feel or how I really want to express myself as to when someone says something stupid or just something ridiculous. But it's just small things that people like to say, to get under our skin. It's like, especially when you work somewhere that it's pricey and it's a gorgeous location, but people just expect just some ridiculous things, and unfortunately I can't change the local laws to accommodate your request just because you're intoxicated. So maybe you shouldn't be drinking if you're to that point where if you can't hold your alcohol, you probably shouldn't be drinking in general. But we'll leave that for some other day or whatever. But it's hard. I want to say that with BPD, it takes a lot of work. A lot of us struggle with just the daily effects of having BPD. I've known about my BPD for quite some time already. I want to say about 7 years or so. I was diagnosed by a psychiatrist, and really when we started talking about the condition and what it is, it clicked. He had me watch a video, but unfortunately the video wasn't really. Yeah, the video was saying a lot, but I was like, this isn't me. This isn't me. Still kind of doubting everything. And once we kind of got into the conversation, he started asking me more questions, and he told me that as long as I wanted his help, I had to be genuine, I had to be honest, and I had to be willing to kind of fess up to a few things here and there, and that's how I was going to get to the point where I was going to accept what I had. And it just made sense. The more we talked about it, it really clicked. And before I didn't really understand why I was feeling the way I was, and it was really difficult. I know that there was a few times where I tried to hurt myself. The first time I hurt myself, I I I really did it in a sense. It's just a complicated story, that kind of don't want to get into, but I'll kind of shed some light on it. The first time that I tried to hurt myself, I was young. I'm gonna say I was 17, and I didn't really understand what I guess rejection felt like. I didn't really comprehend exactly what it is to kind of just not be worthy in a sense of, I guess, someone else's appreciation. And it was a complicated relationship. I think about it now, and it's like, man, I wish I would have known now what I knew. I wish I would have known now exactly and applied it to back then. But you know what? You can't change the past. You just kind of have to accept it and move with it. But yeah, that first time I ended up being life flighted to a bigger city, not where I'm at now. I used to live in a much smaller place that didn't really have an adequate hospital, but it was a real eye opener. they had to put me in a medically induced coma because a lot of my body functions was trying to pretty much shut down. So to this day, I'm still very thankful that I have full liver function. For the most part, I'm still mentally there, but it was difficult. It was really hard on my family and especially on my mom. Um, and it's something that I don't wish on anyone. But with BPD, when before you even realize it that you have it, you just go through. You're just on your own. You're trying to understand yourself, and it's hard. You're really grasping for air at that moment, and for me, that's exactly I just what led me up to that point. I just kind of lost it, and rejection is one of the biggest things with BPD. We have a hard time accepting rejection, and mine was more I was fed up with the situation, and up to that time I did have a lot of really negative thoughts. I didn't really get what was going on inside my head, and I tried to, but it was just hard, and I was always really mad at myself, and I had some self-image issues as well. Like, why am I not good enough? Why am I not good enough? But I'd be damned if someone tried to bring me down, on image or on anything. I was very good at verbally protecting myself, and it comes to a different point as well. I was just such an ugly person. I don't mean ugly like personality wise. I just mean, or physically. I just mean like with my words and my actions. I was very ugly, and I lashed out at people, and really I was just so miserable that I was trying to make everyone else around me miserable, and it's kind of dumb thinking about it now. I was like, man, I wish I wouldn't have been so childish, but you know what? You learn from it, and you kind of have to move past it. But yeah, so I won't go into detail as to really what happened with my first attempt, but it was a big eye opener, and here's the thing behind it though. I did try a second time, and the second time I was like, I didn't understand really why I was alive. Um, the way that I overdosed. I thought in my head, I'm like, man, for sure this is going to be effective. Like I said, I'm not trying to be too negative, but I just really want to kind of touch base on some of the things from the past. And yeah, that second time, you know, I I was just I was just so confused. I'm like, why did I survive? Why like I understood that God was giving me another opportunity at life, but I just wasn't getting it, and so I was drinking more heavily, and I was definitely doing a lot more drugs, and it just wasn't clicking, and instead of being grateful for something that God gave me back, I was just so miserable. I'm like, why am I still here? Why doesn't it make sense at all? And so when I tried the second time, I failed obviously, but I'm really glad that I failed because that second time it just kind of opened my eyes, and I realized like, man, I have a problem. I have a problem, and I need to get help because no matter what people say, or no matter what your family thinks, you have to be open and recognize that you need help. And if you can't do that for yourself, then it's going to be a lot more difficult for you to get to that point. But I was able to, find a good psychiatrist who was able to diagnose me properly. And like I said, once we talked over that diagnosis, everything just clicked. And once it finally clicked, I'm like, man, I wish I would have knew this beforehand. And I get it. I've said a few I wishes already, but we can't go back. We can only fix it and keep moving forward. But yeah, it was definitely an eye opener, and the biggest thing now is that my family and my friends, I'm very quiet with my BPD, and I definitely don't want people to look at me in a different way. But I'm very quiet behind it, and my family knows obviously, but I come from a very traditional Catholic family, and sometimes I feel like my parents just don't want to acknowledge it. Most of the time, I do feel like it's something that they believe is inaccurate. Um, I I can't really push my mom and dad to change or my siblings to change, but it's just something that makes it a little bit more hard. Always trying to explain things, to them that they just don't comprehend at all. And it makes it really challenging, very challenging at all, very, very challenging. But I just think that finding an outlet, where you can express yourself is very, very important. I'm kind of sick of it in a sense. I'm kind of sick of explaining to my family, what I have, and I wish that they would take the time to, kind of research it and understand that, BPD is something that it's just not easy to work with. A lot of us take multiple medications, and I just didn't want to be like that. I knew for a fact that I did need something, to help me go into sleep and to boost my serotonin levels, and I'm glad that trazodone has worked for me for such a long time already. But the biggest thing behind it is I just didn't want to be like that. Before I was diagnosed with BPD, just had a family doctor that was uh, just giving me a bunch of inaccurate diagnoses. My parents thought I was bipolar just because of the mania and then the severe depression. Um, at one point, they thought I was a schizophrenic, and it just, the list goes on from there. So I was just on all these different meds, and unfortunately, none of it was working. And it wasn't working because they were treating me for the wrong things. I did antidepressants, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. This isn't me. So they say don't just, if you're taking antidepressants, just don't stop cold turkey. And I recommend that you always, talk to your doctor and really discuss, something that's going to work for you. But like I said before, I was diagnosed with BPD. It was just kind of, I felt like, let's give more medicine and see if that works. But fortunately, it didn't. It just caused a lot more stress and a lot more stress for sure. And that medication was not fun to take. I did antidepressants, and really, they made me just disgusted. I know I wasn't depressed, because I also had my good moments, but I just stopped. One day I just stopped taking them. I'm like, this isn't gonna work for me, and it sounds really ridiculous, but I felt like once I stopped taking them, I kind of got back to myself and just kind of tried to do everything I could to make it work. BPD is just something that I never expected to have. And when my doctor told me that, really, there's not really a something you can use to cure it. It's something that you have. That's kind of where I decided. I really want to take steps to help myself, and I don't want to be on medications. But it was a lot of help, and I got a lot of therapy behind it. Definitely a lot of self acknowledgement for sure. Right now, it takes a lot for me to control myself. I'm able to kind of recognize my patterns, and I'm able to really understand, where I'm headed mood wise. But just some days I feel, especially when I wake up, I feel like I like my brain never really fully slept. And that's why I take the trazodone, just to kind of tune me out for a little bit, and help me have a good night's sleep. But I don't know if some of you experience this, but what happens is my brain will all of a sudden come on again, and all my thoughts are just going through my head, and I'm supposed to be sleeping, so my body is sleeping, but my brain is turned on, so it's in full effect. And so I wake up just confused, and I wake up even more tired. Sometimes I wake up annoyed. I'm like, man, I really wanted a good night's rest, but I didn't get that. And um, and it's hard. Sometimes I feel like the front of my brain is just on fire, or I feel like there's just a 10 pound weight on my brain, and it hurts. I don't want to say that physically. It messes me up, but like emotionally, it just takes a toll on me. I could I'm pretty optimistic, so I try and do my best. I try and turn it around, but I feel that like once I wake up like that and things are just not going the way they are, I automatically start tuning everything out. I start blocking myself, in and protecting myself as much as I can, and that's one thing that with PPD that I've kind of learned is I really tend to block myself off with relationships, with any type of relationships, whether they're family or whether they're personal. Anything negative, I just kind of tune out and I just block myself out. And I think it's more of a coping mechanism that I do that. And it's just so that I don't get hurt or so that I don't really feel, any type of emotion that is negatively impacting me. It's, depending on the situation, it's bad. It's the wrong thing to do. One thing that I'll share is that there's a good period of time where I was really just being a job hopper, and I just I knew that I had to have a job, and I wasn't really taking too much consideration and really finding something I was enjoying, but it just actually took me a few months ago to realize that the reason why I was hopping jobs is because as soon as something happened that I just wasn't in agreement with me, I would automatically get this bad mental image of whether it was my boss or the atmosphere. And I just want to be there anymore. So off to the new job I went, and off to a new job I went, and I just kept doing it. And I recognized that it was wrong. I'm like, man, I've just been hopping jobs like nobody's business, and it's wrong. It's not something that I want to keep doing. But a few months ago, I realized that my coping mechanism for this was, instead of really finding out, the correct answer and kind of working around my surroundings or that manager or whatever it was, I was blocking it out. So instead of being logical and working it out like most people would, was just, I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to deal with it. So my only way out was to close myself off. And by closing myself off, I was basically, going to the next job and the next job and the next job. And I realized that I was kind of making a pattern. And I also realized that, BPD, some of us tend to be very impulsive. And that's one thing, luckily for me, everything worked out where I was able to, find a new job pretty quick and just kind of start from there. But sometimes I realize that I'm a little bit more impulsive than I really should. Maybe that's why I have three poodles. But let's not bash on them too much. But yeah, being impulsive has definitely gotten me into trouble, whether it be with my finances, whether it be with some choices I've made. But yeah, being impulsive is something that I need to work on a lot, and I'm gonna keep working on that. But the good thing is I realized that I had a problem, and I just kind of had to stop, and I'm very thankful for where I work out now. I feel appreciated. I really feel like I'm making a difference. I try really, really, really hard to really keep myself, positioned in a good, positive vibe. I try really hard to motivate my team as well, and it's something that I wanted for such a long time, and I'm really happy that I finally got to it. And so I just told myself, as soon as you start feeling negative, as soon as you start feeling, out of control, take a step back and just kind of realize, what's going on. And I don't want to mess this up. I really don't. It's just hard. I definitely don't want to be a crybaby about it, but the instability has made it really difficult for me, especially with my relationships. I'm seeing someone and I just don't understand. I'm like, why are you still with me? I'm I really, I learned what love is, and I'm happy that I did. But sometimes I just don't want to, affect anybody else with what I have, and that's, I think for BPD, a lot of us experience. We don't like feeling rejection, but I think now it's not really rejection. I think now it's just mostly like a coping mechanism on how to close myself off, and I handled it really well. When it comes to rejection, I just don't care. It's whatever, man. Like, I try not to let it affect me, but it's hard, being in a relationship. There's a lot of things that I demand, and there's a lot of things that I want, but it's really hard for me to just kind of accept things the way they are. My whole habit is I want to change everything, and that means that, unfortunately, I want to change my partner or whoever I'm with. I'm not saying like find someone else. I'm just saying I, try and change that person and, really make them someone that I guess I would find enjoyable. And that's wrong. If you think about it, that's very wrong. Um, it's not right. And especially if you're hurting the other person, and I feel like I do that a lot. I feel like just my thoughts and my opinions and just my instability and moods can really hurt that person. I have learned, to meet in the middle, and that took me a lot. Took me a lot to be able to meet in the middle with anyone. At work, obviously I do it. It's my way of life. I need this job, so that's why I do whatever it takes. But just with my relationship, it's difficult, and a lot of times I wonder. I'm like, why would I allow someone to, keep dealing with my crap, and it's hard because we do close ourselves off, excuse me. But definitely trying on it. There's a few times here and there where I'm like, well, maybe I should date someone else. But I think about it and it's like, do I really want to form a pattern here? Am I really looking to date someone else because like I'm just not happy, or because like I think I'm not happy, or like basically it's like I have to really understand why. Like, why do I want to date someone else? And right now I don't understand it. So I guess I'm just kind of really trying to make things work, and keep it going. It's been a few years that I've been in a relationship already, and it's been rocky, but we kind of found a way to make it work, and I'm trying my best to just be more acknowledging and a little bit more empathetic. It's kind of hard sometimes, um, but definitely gonna keep trying with it. I know that I kind of want to start seeing a psychiatrist again. It's not really because I need I need more help. It's just I think it would be nice to talk to someone professionally and just kind of express myself more. This YouTube channel is definitely helping. I do feel like I can make a connection with a lot of you, and like I said, maybe watching me and kind of noticing what I'm going through is a little bit of self-reflectiveness on yourself, and hopefully, like I said, we can all kind of connect with each other and understand what this what BPD really means to all of us. But it doesn't go away, so we have to find a way to make it better for all of us. And this is just my way of coping, my way of kind of trying to make it work for me. But pretty tired. I worked about maybe like a 12-hour day, maybe, no, I'm lying, maybe close to 11-hour day. I'm off tomorrow, so we'll see what we do, what we find entertaining. I'm hoping these allergies go away because they are kicking my butt, and yeah, I need them to go away, preferably like right now. But we'll see how it goes. But I'm exhausted, so it's been a good chat. Hopefully I didn't confuse you. Hopefully I didn't rant or or keep going on and on and on for no reason at all. Hopefully I made my reasons. But I hope you guys have a great day. Look at the positives, look at all the happy things you have in your life, and kind of when you're feeling negative, think about that and make it work for you. I think tomorrow I'll probably share some of the best quotes that I've kind of lived by and kind of use, when I'm feeling blue, when I'm feeling negative, and we'll see. Yeah, so we'll talk tomorrow, and hopefully everything goes well for you. Bye.